Word most commonly used in the New Testament for this generosity of spirit and neighborliness is agape, commonly translated as love in the New Testament. It is distinguished from other Greek words also translated by our word love. Agape is a love that engages our higher self, our beliefs and choices and awareness. Agape also has a sense of joy, as when we are losing ourselves, doing something that engages our creativity or concern for the welfare of another, or moves us to acts of extraordinary generosity. Agape moves us to do with less time, less money, less leisure, less commerce, so others may have more food, more justice, more human dignity, more kindness, more respect, more compassion. Agape love works like a healing salve for both the one who is moved by it and the one who receives its grace, is an antidote to that toxic anxiety which moves us to circle the wagons and to hold tightly to what we have, to stay close to home and to our type. Anxiety in its more extreme forms breaks out into xenophobia, causes us to see others as depriving us, threatening limited resources. Rather than neighbors to be discovered and welcomed and loved, others become threats to be eliminated or walled off. Perfect agape love casts out anxiety as Jesus casts out a demon. In fact, toxic anxiety and fear can become demonic, possessing families, groups, churches, and even societies. Agape love, with its gifts of generosity and hospitality, cast out the enslaving anxiety and terror that ultimately can make life a living death. When Jesus is tested by the Pharisees with the question, which is the greatest commandment of all, he weaves together two passages from the Hebrew Scripture. The first from Deuteronomy. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. The second from Leviticus. You shall love thy neighbor as yourself. Everything, all the law and all the prophets hang on these two commandments. In weaving these two ideas together, love of God with love of neighbor as one force field of agape love, and in making this love the hook on which everything hangs, Jesus sets in motion a great revolution that changed the world. Agape love that Wynne so beautifully describes is the key to the work of Right Thinking Foundation and its national online support network. The first 30 days following release from incarceration is the most critical time for a returning citizen in determining whether or not he or she will make a successful reentry back into society. Right Thinking Foundation is building a network of caring, volunteer advocates to work with returning citizens, helping them build their own local support networks. Special emphasis is being placed on returning citizens with children. Please consider becoming a Right Thinking Foundation volunteer advocate. Together, we can make a difference in the lives of returning citizens and help future generations to live a life that does not lead them into incarceration, but instead helps each of them to become a productive, pro-social, contributing, valuable member of society. Quote, love must be sincere. Hate what is evil. Cling to what is good. Be devoted to one another in brotherly love. Honor one another above yourselves. End quote. Romans 12, 9 through 10. Thank you for letting me share that with you. I'm just believing that we're going to make a difference here. We're going to get to those families. And what I'd like to talk about for a few minutes here is just a little more about how it will help you if you want to get out there and be a volunteer. when you become a volunteer like this, you are going to be giving so much to someone that needs what you're going to give them. And it's going to make a difference in their lives. They're going to be able to be closer to their family, to have a better outlook on life, to be able to succeed. You know, one of the worst things about people that have been incarcerated, there's a phenomena that happens that is just a sad, disastrous situation that we've got to change. It's called zero economic mobility. When someone has been incarcerated, when they get out, a lot of times, most of the time, they don't get very good jobs. They take something that's way beneath perhaps their skill level. They just are destined to low paying, minimum wage type jobs, because that's part of what happens after they've been incarcerated. The first part of the show, I talked about that a little bit. I talked about how nobody wants to hire them because they're afraid of them. But let me tell you something. I firmly believe so strongly that nothing is impossible. And just like Donna said on the show she was on in December called Encouragement, if you want to change your environment. So if we work with people that say they want to help other people, that say they have love for other people, and a lot of them do, but they're just afraid to give it to this particular population. This is a population that is so underserved because of all of the reasons. But it's not just about keeping them separated from society and hoping that they never do anything bad again. Lock them up, throw away the key. No, it's about reintegrating them into society, given the love of Jesus that I've just talked about this show. So my appeal to you right now is that we go forth and we really volunteer to be involved. We've created a situation that's using the benefits of technology so that we can really get close to people and know them and encourage them and make a friend. And so with that said, I just want you to know that you have an opportunity to give more of yourself. And I'd like to just tell you just a little story. I said I'd like to be a little fun today. Relax, let me entertain you. You know, my life story has gone through a lot of ups and downs. I have a testimony that I share on other shows, but you know, life is not always going to be easy. It's a perpetual situation where, you know, it goes real good for a while sometimes, and then something completely unexpected happens. And the whole idea of Right Thinking Foundation is that my little contribution is that if you can get on top of your finances and reduce all the stress that you've created on yourself by making some bad decisions financially, you can learn to handle your money better, save some and work toward goals, things of that nature. You can stabilize a little, that you'll have a better, more stable life. But one of the sad facts of life that I'm going to tell you right now is life has its ups and downs. And you're going to have things that happen to you unexpected. And, you know, I can give you 100 different quotes on, you know, it's not that you had to go through a rough time and got knocked down. It's that you get yourself up. And we can't make it alone. One of the very first songs that I share in my prison work is the Young Bloods Get Together. Come on, people. Smile at your brother. Everybody get together. Try to love one another right now. I talk that we can't make it alone. I've used terms like, you know, we're all in the same boat has evolved to we are all in the same ark. This world has grown to biblical proportions. We need one another. I've done shows with songs like Barbra Streisand. People who need people are the luckiest people in the world. We've done James Taylor, Roberta Flack, You Got a Friend. Look, that's the message that I'm trying to give you. And so as I go into prisons and I meet people and I give them the invitation, that I encourage them and I teach them all that I can to help them be better prepared. But I let them know that when you get out, there are people that care about you, that are waiting for you. A lot of times these people that we're talking to right now, they don't even have their own families they can go back to. The families might have been a bad influence and they just can't go back there. Or the family might have been so hurt and abused by the individual that's been incarcerated that what they end up doing is they don't want to have anything to do with them. We want to build relationships. This whole program is built on personal relationship. And I believe so strongly that with all that this country is trying to do to deal with our prison problem, the recidivism problem, it's not succeeding very well in fixing this problem. And I've said it over and over again. I think the very best thing we can do is get to the kids before they go too far out in the world and screw up. But what I'm trying to say to you is that if we all start loving one another, we can make a difference. And Right Thinking Foundation has focused down on the level of when someone first gets out to try to help them connect with other people and know that they're loved and help them build their own network, experience some successes. When I was in Charleston Correctional Center on December the 14th in West Virginia, and I did a 2-hour seminar, it was an absolute beautiful experience for me. I had 118 men and women there, and it was the first prison that I've been in that's a co-ed prison. Yeah, I didn't know what it was going to be like. They actually house dormitories, men and women, in the same building. And it's a reentry facility. They give them a lot of freedom. They let them go out to jobs in a work release type program. And I asked the staff, so, I mean, how do you keep the men and women separated? I'm sure you have a lot of issues. And they said, well, yeah, we do. But you know what? Giving them their freedom and letting them be more like they're in the real world and not just separated from society so much is the whole theory there. And I have to compliment the state of West Virginia, the warden that I met there that I've become close friends with, Jeffrey Stennett. He's a wonderful man, and I appreciate him so much for letting me come into his facility there and talk to his people. But I had 118 men and women in the group, and I spoke for 2 hours with them. And at the end, they did some surveys. And the survey was just, I'll just tell you what it was. It's a participant survey. Thank you for your recent participation in the seminar presented at Charleston Correctional Center. It would be greatly appreciated if you would take the time to complete a brief survey so that the Right Thinking Foundation can make future seminars as meaningful as possible to the participants. Excuse me. It was only 5 questions. What did you learn from being in the seminar? Saving money. If I can save money and cut back on my spending, I can do better. Finances are important in reentry. Have a plan. How to be successful when getting released. That if I keep track of my spending, I can save money. I learned a simple way to save money, to spend sensibly and manage my money. Those are some of the answers that they said to that first question. The second question was, what changes have you made in your spending since participating in the seminar? I asked, be specific, indicate any savings that you have made. Well, one said, I cut back on my commissary spending, the canteen there. Every penny counts. I've started to pay attention to every penny, where it goes and how I spend it. I'm really bad with money. I spend it if I have it, so it's helped show me how to write down what I'm spending. Being careful about what I spend and keeping on track of what I spend. While shopping, I buy less or I buy cheaper items. Just to be aware of what I'm going to spend my money on, I've just stopped spending to buy unnecessary things that I really don't use. It would be just wasting my money. These are the kind of comments I got on that question. How will the seminar help you? It helped me to make a budget, to be more prepared